Greetings from a fishing village on the Atlantic coast. You've tuned in to podcast Portwenn, celebrating the world of Doc Martin unofficially. I'm Chesla Wechsler, and we'll be discussing Doc Martin, the medicine, the mayhem, and the marvelous people of Portwenn. I'm delighted to have two members of the same family with me today. Here are Jennifer and Mackenzie, mother and daughter. Neither one has watched Doc Martin, so they are unspoiled, and both have been enthusiastic viewers of Best Medicine. Welcome to podcast Portwenn.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us.
I'm delighted to have you guys. It sounds like you guys are enjoying the show.
Yes.
Absolutely. This is really cute.
We didn't watch Doc Martin, and we're excited now to watch it. But now that we're watching Best Medicine, it's a good show. We're enjoying it.
Yeah, we're really enjoying it.
Yes.
And it's fun to be able to see almost like a reverse of what I'm sure you guys are doing, where we're kind of starting at the end. And then we get to go back and see it all from the beginning.
That's right. And it is a U.S. adaptation, and so it's not exactly the same show. But it's obviously they've taken some plot arcs from it. They've taken the characters, and the underlying themes are the same. So which one of you enjoys it the most?
Ooh, that's tough.
Well, I think I laugh out louder than you do. When we were watching the episode of when they thought they had the plague, so I think that was episode 10, I think it was. And I just I thought that was the best episode for me because I thought it was the funniest. So I was just laughing out loud the whole time. And everybody else in the house was just, ha, ha. But I was a little more vocal about my laughing.
Yes. Yeah. She gets a kick out of it. I love it though, because I really enjoy how theatrical it is. I feel like you don't really get a lot of shows nowadays that take a little bit more of like that theatrical approach. I think a lot of stuff is very heavy nowadays, and it's nice to just have something light and fun and just very welcoming. I feel like anybody can watch this show and genuinely enjoy it. Yeah. So it's really, I like it a lot.
Good. Now you watch it as a family, correct? And you said Michael, Jennifer, your husband watches it as well?
Yes. So he actually, honestly, I would say that he likes it the most.
Yeah, he asked us to put it on. He's like, "Oh, we got another episode."
Yeah. Each week when we sit down, late at night, we would put the TV on. He'll say, "Wait a minute, is the new episode of Best Medicine out?" And he'll be clicking, looking for it. So I would say he likes it the best. But we all enjoy it. It's family time. It's a show we can all watch together and enjoy and not have to worry about anything. So we really enjoy watching it every week. And I think we've all liked different episodes for different reasons.
Yeah.
But we all really enjoyed that episode 10, like I said, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to remember the plague. When was the plague? I think it might have been 11, but I'm not sure.
Oh, you know what? I did write it down. It was episode 11, and it was the plague one. So
you can imagine. I study the show and I talk to so many people. It tends to. I remember the later ones much better than I remember the earlier ones.
Yes.
Do you watch on Fox or on Hulu?
On Hulu. Yeah, we watch it the next day. So, I don't know why. But we just pick Wednesdays to watch it. So Wednesday nights when we flick on Hulu and put it on, and we all get excited. We're like, all right, everybody come sit. We all sit in the TV room and put it on and maybe pop some popcorn and if anybody does have to get up, this is a show that we will pause until the person comes back. We don't do that for every show. That's not something we do for everything we watch, but for Best Medicine, we will pause it until the person gets back in the room.
So funny. And it is so nice to have a show that all of us can watch as a family. It's hard to find shows to watch with the parents that isn't, a little scandalous or it's boring or it's just you feel like you're watching something that a kid should be watching. It's for everybody. So it is really nice.
I think everybody can really enjoy this show. It's because it's not so over the top. The characters, some of them they're more caricatures of the people. But it's not so over the top that people might be like, I'm not going to watch that. I really think everybody enjoys it. And we've told other people about it. Like I'll tell people at work about it and they'll come back and say, I started watching it. It's really good. So
good.
Yeah.
So you're being an influencer.
Yes, we're influencers about best medicine. Yeah. So
That's fun. That's great. Now, have you ever watched an episode more than once, or are you just working your way through each one
we're
at a
just
time?
working our way through. So each week we'll watch the episode.
Yeah.
I don't think we've watched any twice.
No, but this is definitely a show that you can go back and like rewatch, and it's enjoyable the second time. I'm a big rewatcher. I love we are like going through series just every year repeatedly. So this is definitely one we would add to the list for sure.
That's great. Good.
Yeah.
Now, you had talked about there's people at work and stuff who you have gotten to watch the show. Do you find that since it is something that comes out weekly and you guys watch it in a timely manner, is there ever a, hey, did you watch the episode last night, and chatting about it at work?
Yes. So we don't have the water cooler at work since I work in a school. You know, we don't gather around the water cooler. But when we're walking in hallways, there's a few people that, you know, I know have been watching it. So in passing, it's, hey, what did you think about the show? I like this and that was great. And then we keep going. So we do talk about it in the hallways. And then another teacher might hear, oh, wait, what show were you talking about? And, you know, it kind of, then more people get interested in it. So yes, we do discuss it the next day or at some point that week. We'll talk about it. So yeah, it's become a topic of conversation. Some of the people like certain characters more than others, and some people, especially the first few episodes of this season, I think some of the people at work were saying some of the characters were a little much, like Elaine with the social media and Mark as the police officer, that they were a little much to handle. But as the season went on, I think they became, I don't know, they just started liking those characters more and more and becoming more attached to them. So I don't know if it's because the characters weren't so much over the top or they just started liking them. I'm not sure.
I found that they grew on me as time went on. You know, I think maybe they settled out a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, Elaine,
well,
I'm guessing Elaine is maybe 20, 21 years old, and Al is maybe 20, 21. Is that your impression as well?
So, yeah.
Actually, no, in the episode we just watched, Al said he was 19, didn't he?
No, he said he was
21?
in his 2020, I think they said.
Okay.
But yes, I do think that's like the argument, and that, you know, she's going off to college, but maybe took a couple years to try and figure her life out. So yeah, I would say probably like early 20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I am terrible with these generation things. So Gen Z, I don't know what that extends to. So Mackenzie, are you Gen Z and are they Gen Z?
I'm Gen Z, and so Elaine and Al would also be Gen Z. I'm really terrible at that too, so I don't know the official year that cuts off, but yes.
So you are Gen Z?
I am,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. We are not Gen Z.
Yeah, I am not Gen Z. I am what they call Generation Jones, which is the very tail end of that's what they're calling the very tail end of boomers. Jennifer, where are you?
I have no idea where I fall. Now I'll have
You're
to look it
not
up.
a millennial. Are you like, yeah.
No.
Maybe I don't know. I'll be looking that up after this.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah, let me know, and I'll put a little textual banner over it and say Jennifer found out
Jennifer is Jen whatever.
Yes,
So
yes.
funny.
Yeah, because you wouldn't be a millennial, but you wouldn't be a boomer, and you wouldn't be this Jen Jones nonsense. But anyway, whatever that means, right? Mackenzie, do you have a favorite episode?
I really love the finale.
It wasn't finale. It was
the season
last night. Was it the finale?
That was the season finale, right? Yeah.
Season finale.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought that was really cute because I've been really interested in Louisa and Martin's little love story they have going on. I'm a hopeless romantic, so that's kind of where my interest peaks throughout the show. And I also really loved how they left it on a cliffhanger. I love a good cliffhanger. That's what makes me want to keep watching is, oh, well, now I have to find out what's going on with them. So I do think it was really sweet that Martin's kind of like officially noticing that he really does want to be with Louisa, but her with her baby, she wants to have a baby. She doesn't know if she's going to have it now with Mark, the police officer, isn't he? And now he's saying that you can have a baby with me. Like, I'm just waiting for them to get together, but that's the closest I think we've gotten to them finally kind of admitting that they want to be together. So that's fun. I'm excited.
They're back and forth, back and forth. It seems like every time one of them gives a signal, it just gets misunderstood or turned around the wrong way. I mean, that kiss, geez.
Oh, that was a great kiss.
That was amazing.
Remember, I was going, woo!
Yeah.
When it happened, I was so excited. I started cheering.
I know. I was honestly shocked they didn't officially start their relationship after that kiss, but obviously we know that Martin just feels really badly for Mark and doesn't really have a good regulation of emotions and what he wants and like goes after it. So I do like that they're kind of doing this little push and pull, a little bit of a slow burn, but I'm ready. We're ready for that to get kicked into gear.
Yeah, but now Martin's ex-girlfriend is in the picture now. What's that?
She showed up at the end of the episode and we were like,
I don't like it.
They seem pretty well matched. I mean, he seemed pretty engaged in her conversation with her at the restaurant, don't you think?
Yes.
They do. And they did a really good job delivering the baby together for the Norwegian couple. But I'm so team Louisa. I think she's such a doll. And this lady seems a little high maintenance. But you're right. Like, she does have a good little thing with Martin.
Well, because I think they're both real stoic and you know,
very
not very emotive. So yeah, I could see them. If Louisa weren't in the picture, I could see Martin and the ex-girlfriend together because of their personalities. But I think Martin needs someone like Louisa to bring out his emotions, to bring out his soft side and show him, you know, life. So, and I think he's been learning how to really live now that he's in Portwenn. So I'd hate to see him backslide into more closed emotion with this ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean, you certainly get us. Go ahead, Mackenzie. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say it was interesting because at the end of the episode when he did his whole speech talking about how to the Norwegian guy, like, you have to cut up the contract. Like, we're not doing the salmon fishery, whatever it was. Salmon farm. And Martin had this beautiful speech and it was like, you know, it's a Portwenn thing. And it was just like the first time we've really seen him actually engaging with the fact that he does actually love the town and he loves the people there.
Yeah.
And the doctor, his ex-girlfriend, was like, what was that? And he was like, oh, you know, couldn't really, like, it's hard to understand, or he said something like that. And Louisa was obviously like so moved by what he did. And I agree with Mom that it's like he really does come out of his shell so much when he's with Louisa that it would be so sad to see him kind of revert back to his old ways at the beginning of the season where he was just like so to himself, because he has opened up a lot.
Yeah.
Even with the dog.
Yeah, right. With Copernicus, right? So
Copernicus, yes, he finally admitted that Copernicus was his dog and gave him that collar. That was the last episode, or whatever. But finally put a collar on Copernicus, gave him his name, and admitted that, yes, he has affection for this dog, and it's his dog.
Seemed like a big step.
It was. I think that was a huge step.
I agree.
That was huge. That was huge. And
Eden and Martin, to me, seem like, you know, it's easy to fall back into the old relationship. And it seems to be a recurrent theme to me because, you know, Louisa, episode 1, it sounds like she had a big breakup where she was very much in love with someone in New York. That broke up and she falls back into her old boyfriend, who is Mark, for 8 years. So, you know, this idea of like we fall back to what's familiar seems, you know, this is the second time we've seen this in this show.
Yeah. Agreed.
Absolutely.
But even though it's you know, it's a humor show, it's, you know, more, I think, you know, like we said, just taking characters and just kind of blowing them up a little bit. It really has very nice undercurrents of storyline that make you feel good, make you feel happy. You know, just tying people together and showing you nice just humanity, just even though the characters are well over the top, they really come together in that sense of community and love and friendship and trust, and they just hit on a lot of notes that are just nice to watch, and it's just nice undercurrents in each episode.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite? Go ahead, Mackenzie. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, just said it was definitely a feel-good show.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite character, Jennifer?
Oh boy. I like them all for different reasons. I would have to say maybe Louisa, but the other ones are growing on me even more. Like Elaine in the beginning, she was so annoying to me. It was just the social media thing, and it was just hard to connect with her. But now in this last episode, she really loves Al. She really cares for Dr. Martin and does the blood work for him and has kept his secret. She's trustworthy. She kept his secret this whole time. And that's a huge secret. And, so even though she's always trying to promote herself, there, with the blood work and with just the townspeople, she does really care about everybody. And I think she's settling into her character now. So I really am growing more fond of her, especially when Martin's mother put her down that one episode, and I forget what she said, but really made her feel bad about herself. I think that's when she started settling down. So I don't know. I've been growing more fond of her, but Mark, he's funny. But I love how he thinks Martin has been his best friend this whole time. And, and Martin just has thought of him as anybody else. So that's been funny. That's been funny to watch that duo together. That was a good time.
Sure.
What about you? Who's your favorite?
My favorite in this show, George from The Salty Breeze.
Yes.
I just find him to be so sweet, and he just really holds things together, and he's thinking about, he's a gossiper, right? He wants to know the dirt just like everybody else does, but he's just warm and cheerful. I've liked George from the jump.
Yeah.
So.
And how nice they got married in this last episode.
Well, they
died.
Yeah. I loved that episode. I love that they surprised him. I usually can predict a plot, and that was not predictable to me. And I loved that little warming of the rings thing.
Oh,
yeah.
I actually, while it was happening, I said to Mackenzie, look at this tradition. This is fantastic. Yeah. I love that. And how Aunt Sarah explained how, it's not just a ring anymore. It's a symbol of everyone's love who's here for you today. I thought how special that is. I tucked it into the back of my mind for, one day when my kids get married. I'm like, ooh, little nugget. I'm going to hold on to that one.
Yeah, and even if you have really a big wedding, presumably you could walk the rings up the aisle, and that aisle can because this was a small wedding, you could pass it around. I was trying to think scale. How do you scale this? So Mackenzie, is Louisa your favorite character, or do you have somebody else who you think is your favorite?
For the warm-hearted character, I actually have to agree with you. I think George is my guy. I think he is so cute. I have, just like you, I've liked him from the jump. I, like Mom, I didn't love Elaine in the beginning. I thought she was a little much, but she's also grown on me. I feel like she's really coming into her own in regard to just what she wants to do with her life. Even though she doesn't know what she wants to do, she's becoming more comfortable not knowing what she wants. So I think that's really admirable, but I do think Aunt Sarah is hilarious. I love the dry sense of humor she kind of brings. I feel like every time she's on the screen, it's something funny is about to happen. And she's a little bit more realistic. I like that it's not, even though it is a feel-good show, I like that she kind of brings a little bit of negativity in and makes it a little bit more realistic, and you can relate to it a little bit more. Because Martin obviously has this sense of negativity that's a little bit not relatable. I feel like a lot of people can't really grab on to how truly detached he is. But Aunt Sarah is like, she is a community girl. She's just a little crabby. And aren't we all sometimes? So I think she's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I can say my least favorite character, and that's Glendon, the board member, the father of the bully kid.
He's the worst.
I really don't like him at all. He's just mean.
Yeah.
He's mean.
He's mean-spirited.
Yes. He's my least favorite. So, because now we left the cliffhanger of Doc Martin gets the letter from the medical board, and it was just so, I don't know, backhanded of Glendon to do that to him, even though Martin is such a pillar of the community and so needed, and everybody in the community needs him and trusts him. Just to spite him, he's going to go against the whole community and hurt his whole community just to prove a point to Martin. So that's annoying. Yeah.
You have to admit, though.
I was just gonna. It's a good comparison of like, he is mean-spirited, but Aunt Sarah is just grouchy. Like, it's a very clear difference of like, she's the person who does genuinely love her community. She's just, don't mess with her. And then this guy is just a complete jerk. Like, we don't like him.
And he's been a complete jerk Martin's whole life, it sounds like, because if you recall earlier episodes, he bullied him as a child when they were there for the summers, when Martin was like parked with Aunt Sarah when they were grieving the loss of his sister.
Yes.
I mean, who is that cruel that the kid is there because he lost his sister and you're going to bully him?
Yeah.
That was awful.
That was awful. So he's the person of the show that we just don't like, and we want some kind of
karma.
Yeah, we want a little karma to come back to him at some point. Not a lot, just a little bit of karma to put him in his place.
I absolutely get it. Now, does Michael have a favorite character?
I think he likes Martin.
I was gonna say, I think of all of them, he thinks he's like, I don't know, just the most, in a way, relatable.
For Michael.
Yeah, for his personality.
He's most like Doc Martin. So I think that he likes Martin the best.
Yeah.
I really think so. Yeah. Because that's when I hear him laughing the most, is when something happens with Martin and you hear him in his chair.
That's very good. Yeah, that's fun. That's fun.
So I would have to say Martin.
Martin?
Okay. What were you surprised about in the season finale?
I was surprised about the ex. That surprised me.
Yeah.
To me, that came out of nowhere, that there was this ex in the picture and that now she wants Martin back. So that to me came out of nowhere.
And to just go off of that, I think one of the most shocking things is that Martin was entertaining it. I feel like his relationship with Elisa, from what the show kind of puts out there, it seems like Martin is just smitten with her, and have this ex walk in and he's kind of going for it a little. I mean, obviously at the end, it's because he was really upset that he heard Louisa and Mark talking about the baby and everything. But even before that, he did entertain a lunch with her. It seemed like he was a little too excited that she was coming back. But we did talk about that they fall into old patterns and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that shocked me personally.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah, I would have to say that not just her coming back, but that he was interested in entertaining it. Yeah, that would be the shocker for me. Yes.
Okay. Now, one question I have for you is season when Robert Best and Vanessa, Martin's parents, come.
Okay, yes.
Were you aware that Robert Best was played by a British actor?
No.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no.
Yes.
Not while I was watching it. Afterwards, I realized it, but not while we were watching the episode.
So you did not know that Martin Clunes was not only British, but he actually played Doc Martin in the original show.
I didn't know that. That's so funny.
I didn't know it during the show. I didn't know it while we were.
Gosh, now that's exciting to see him when we do watch the other show. It's gonna be like, oh my god, I know that face.
To see that. I
thought it would be an interesting question to ask because if you don't realize he's British, if you realize he's British, I thought he pulled off an American accent extremely well. It's not always easy. Most of the time I find British actors get tripped up by the R sound. But I thought he did fine. But I wanted to find out from people who might not know who that man was, whether they thought.
No, I didn't know it. And listening to him, you wouldn't have known it. Somebody who didn't know he was British, you would not have known it while he was talking.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was also impressed at the ability to pull off a character who, he defined Doc Martin. He created the character basically, and yet he could act in a show that is an adaptation of the show that he was the star of, be a completely different character, and people like me who have seen both can completely accept him as this new character. That was rather mind-blowing. Mackenzie, I wanted to ask you, since you are a Gen Zer, the type of content that Elaine produces, like, let me just show you as I wrap rubber bands around this ball and unpack this box. Is there an interest for that stuff out there, or is she trying to be, trying to discover something wacky that will catch someone? Because I know there's people like, the little boy who unwraps presents, right? Like some things have hit people, right? Do you think she's reaching, or is this typical of people trying to be influencers or whatever?
I think it's definitely a little bit of a reach. I also think because she wasn't really trying to define herself as like one thing. She didn't have her niche, and she was trying to figure it out, obviously, and just posting literally 100 different things at once to see if anything stuck. Of course, there are things like the weirdest things that you would never think would be watchable are watchable. Last night I watched somebody dust for like 2 hours. And I was like, this is dust. Yeah, they were just dusting. And I was like, this is great. I love a cleaning video. Like it's very funny, the things that do end up catching on. So it's not that she was like, in a position where she was just like not doing it correctly. It's just she wasn't doing it in a way that I would typically like say is the right way to go. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So when Vanessa confronts her and says, you're just putting more garbage on the internet, is that really what you want to do with yourself? It sounds like she's not completely the only person doing inane things.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of saw both perspectives, honestly, because I do think there's just so much garbage on the internet that does not need to be there. It's so useless. It's just putting stuff out there that we don't really need to be watching. It's just taking away our brain cells as we're watching it.
There goes one, there goes another.
But I do think that there are some really great videos out there that are educational and fascinating, and it's a great tool for so many different things, but there are negatives to everything. And I don't think she was honestly that wrong, and I think that was the thing that kind of shoved Elaine into her trying to be okay with not knowing what was coming next. So it was awful, and it was so mean, and it needed to be said in a very different way, but I think it in a way kind of worked for Elaine in her favor.
The radical honesty.
Yeah, she said, "Oh, you think you're cute, but you're not as cute as you think you are. You're not that cute." Something.
She did say that.
That was ooh.
Like, we don't need to go there. That's a little far, but I think she meant it in a way, obviously, that was like coming from a good place. I hope, maybe not at all.
Well,
but
she seems to be this radical honesty person, right? That's her psychiatric or psychological philosophy.
Yeah.
It's just
radical honesty.
Lay it out there.
But it did, I think, help Elaine take a step back and rethink her approach to her future. And because it was after that she decided to apply to Juilliard and get into acting. But unfortunately, she didn't get a call back. But it did allow her that honesty to explore other options for her future that might be better suited for her.
Even though it's so mean.
So mean.
Terrible.
Yeah.
But
the people of Portwenn are so amazingly supportive that it makes me wonder. Elaine seems very wrapped in layers and layers and layers of undeserved self-esteem. Like, is she a great actress? Not really, but she thinks she's a lock for Juilliard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
That, who knows, that radical honesty might have been the only thing that would have cut through.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's so interesting because it's like, the sense of community in Portwenn is obviously so strong, and that is one of the biggest topics of the show in general, is just family and love and friendship. But it's like, how far does it allow you to go as a person if nobody is honest with you about certain things that are very hard to hear? And that is a part of trust and a part of growing up. And, if she never got that, and as you said, like, she's not the best actress, but everybody was like, oh, you're going. It's not even a question. Like, you're going to get in. And that was the first time she ever heard, maybe in her life, that maybe you're not all that. Maybe you need to practice. Maybe we need to get some, coaching and blah, blah, blah.
Explore other options.
So it was awful, but sometimes those situations kind of kick us into gear, and it's terrible, but
sometimes you need
sometimes you need
you just need
brutal honesty.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. Are there any things you would want to add before I ask you my last question?
Oh, I think just like the show was great. Well, it was a lovely experience to watch it as a family. Times like these, especially like in my early 20s, it's so nice to have things to share with my parents and to be able to do something together. And this was an activity that we all did on Wednesday nights. That was our thing. And if you are somebody, obviously, who's thinking about watching the show, this is your sign to do it, because it was.
That's great. That's great. Super. Jennifer, do you have anything, or that wraps it up for you?
I think it really was a feel-good, fun. It was a fun show to watch, walking away feeling good from it. Yeah.
And we could all use that right now.
Oh, gosh, yes. Gosh, yes. So that's why we look forward to it so much, because we knew we were going to laugh.
Yeah.
We were going to just enjoy the episode and walk away feeling nice about it. So, yeah.
That's cool. So what do you hope to see in season 2?
Ooh, I know what I want to see.
You go first.
I want to see Martin and Louisa get together. That's what I want to see. I want to see them admit their feelings for each other and put down all the roadblocks that they have up and move forward with their relationship.
Yes.
That's what I know what else I want to see. I want to know why, what's her name? I want to know why Sally's got the neck brace on all the time. I want to know what happened to Martin's sister. How did she die? What happened? Like, what were the details surrounding that? I'd like to know that. What else? What do you want to know about?
I mean, obviously, as I said, I'm the hopeless romantic. I am so excited to see where this takes us. But I also feel bad for Mark. Like, I hope that we find him somebody else, because he may be a little empty up here, but he does have a very big heart.
Yes.
And it's very clear that he cares so deeply for Louisa, and he does care really deeply for Doc Martin as well. So I think it'd be really nice to have a little love interest in his area. And then obviously Louisa and Martin getting together, rip the Band-Aid. Like, we gotta get this moving.
But that's a good point. I second that. I want that more towards the top for me, is Mark getting a love interest, but a true love interest, not somebody who's going to hurt him, somebody who really loves him and they could really, form a good bond together.
Even if that means like, haha, Louisa, you could have had me. Like, if we do kind of kick it into gear in that way, that
to make it funny that way.
Right.
Yeah.
But to give him actually somebody.
Yes, he deserves it.
Yeah.
He really loves Louisa.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
And that would make it easier for Louisa and Martin to get together, because they wouldn't feel any guilt over hurting Mark.
Yeah.
So I think that
True.
Yes, I agree.
Snap.
Nice. Yeah, you got the snaps for that one.
They're very good. Very good. Things I have no idea what they mean because I'm old. I'm not old, though. I will never be old. I keep telling you I
You'll
will
never
never
be
be old.
old, Chesla.
We're
Never.
Never
old.
be old. Yes.
Absolutely not.
So, it's a
What do
choice.
you
Old
want
is.
to see happen?
Pardon? What do I want to see happen? I
Yes.
definitely want to see the explanation for what happened to Rosemary.
Okay.
But I want that explanation to come from Robert and Vanessa Best. I want to see them come back because I think that there's a lot of unspoken stuff between son and parents because we have that whole thing of, why have we never spoken about her?
Yes.
And, why was he parked at Aunt Sarah's when they were grieving? I'd like to know, could they not cope with their son at the time? What happened and all that. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. That to me is probably the biggest thing that I want answered. I'd like to understand whether Al maybe goes off to college. I'd like to know that because, it seemed like he was going to do that because he was going to follow Elaine. But if she doesn't go, he's got, he got into NYU and like all these great schools.
Yes.
So let's, hopefully see if that's something he wants to do. He can potentially come back and be an asset to the town after he gets a degree or something. Who knows? But
That's great.
yeah,
That would be.
yeah. But my main thing is I would like to see Martin's parents come back and answer the questions. And Aunt Sarah has to figure out what's going to go on with her house, so they kind of have to come back.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
They've set it up for them to have to come back.
Yeah.
Because of the house.
Ooh. You might get what you
unless
want.
Unless she just buys them out because they have sea urchins that they can sell or something.
That was
Yeah.
well.
And I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
I also have a question in my mind as to, are the Norwegians really gone? And I ask that because just because Geneva ripped up one contract,
that's true.
because there were 2 copies that were signed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Huh.
And if they find out about this sea urchin business, they're going to be flying to get their hands on that.
Yes. Because the Norwegians don't know about the sea urchins yet. So because obviously they're going to find out about it.
They didn't mention that they know about it, but they did have that drone go under the water.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes. And even if for some reason the drone didn't see the urchins because the urchins just came, whatever, Glendon would definitely be telling them about it because he wants them there.
Right.
So they're going to find out unless they just write them off of the show and be like, okay, the contract's done, goodbye. But they do set that up for them to come back because of the sea urchins.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Good point.
See that?
Shall see.
Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed this, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope our viewing public enjoyed it. Folks out in the watching land or listening land, if you've enjoyed it, please subscribe to the feed. Please like the episode. Comment. I always respond to comments. And you guys, I hope to see you back. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks for joining Podcast Portwenn. Podcast Portwenn is an independent fan production, not affiliated with, endorsed by, or sponsored by Buffalo Pictures, ITV, Fox, or the creators of Doc Martin or Best Medicine.